Once you have this, there's a lot of other things that you can start asking yourself. And then Kardec did ask these questions and got answers. And he actually asked these questions to many, many places. He worked with 5 continents, over 1,000 different mediums and places. So he did not ask only one person. And he obtained the information, what is supposed to be from the other side, from the beyond, from the, now we're going to start saying spiritual realm. And he looked at all of them, and before just writing a book, what he did was the following. He sent the same question to different places, and then he collected the answers, and he only reported back the answers that make any sense with one another. Because if I say A on this side and I say B on that side, and they don't match, then something is wrong. Maybe when this was collected, something happened, or over there. So he actually looked at the answers that made sense, that they were corroborating one another. And with that, and by stratifying the types of questions, he actually created 5 tomes. This is the first one. Okay? So these 5 major tomes are what we call the books of the codification. If you want to read Spiritism, if you want to study Spiritism, you actually have to read all 5 of them. Okay? This is the equivalent of our Bible, of our Talmud. Right? These 5. And we start with the Spirit's book. It's the first one. Then we have the Medium's book. Right? The third one is the Gospel according to Spiritism. The fourth one is Heaven and Hell. And the last one is Genesis. It's actually much larger. It's Genesis, Miracles and Predictions according to Spiritism, but most people understand or know it simply by Genesis. And these 5 books, they may look like they are addressing different things, the Spirit's book, the Medium's book, but they are actually quite integrating to one another. So let us put all 5 there, and let us look at it from a different perspective. So these are from left to right in the order they were published, from the middle of the 19th century all the way into the almost three quarters of the 19th century. So you started from 57 to 68, right, when Kardec passed away. And what we see is that some of these books, they come out in pairs. For instance, if you look at the Spirit's book is the foundation of our doctrine. In it, you will find the rules of conduct. So we call it almost like a technical manual, right? Technical manual, because everything is there, the laws, the concepts, the foundations, it's all here. And where do you actually put everything that you learn here into practice? When you read the Gospel according to Spiritism, the third one. So these 2 act like a pair. There is another pair, the Medium's book. In the Medium's book, Kardec addresses the communications with the other side, with the spiritual side of our existence. So here in the Medium's book, it's still based on concepts and rules and regulations, okay, and organization of the Spirit's book. But here, the emphasis is in the communication with the other side, with the so-called errant beings. These errant beings is what we call the spirits. So here, in the Medium's book, we have all the specifications, all the rules of conduct, all the ethics about the mediumship, mediumistic behavior, mediumistic phenomena. And then we see the results of it, or these things put into practice in Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell is a collection of communications taken from the other side, where we have an idea of what it is to be in the spiritual realm. And the name Heaven and Hell serves 2 purposes. One, to prove, or actually disprove, the existence of heaven and of hell. So it's actually to prove that they do not exist. And number 2, to actually address and explain that the idea of heaven and the idea of hell is no longer a place, but something that we have in our own minds. It's how we behave and how we feel about our surroundings that will allow us to say, oh, I'm in heaven, or I'm in hell. So it moves it away from a location, like when you read Dante's Divine Comedy, and you have a place for hell, you have a place for purgatory, and a place for heaven. Not anymore. He is actually saying the place is in your mind. Where you are, you take hell or heaven with you. So everything here that you learn about the communication with the spiritual realm, with the other side, you see now here in heaven and hell in practice. Because heaven and hell is basically a set of communications that were dictated by spirits, neither suffering or in bliss on the other side. Spirits who are no longer here with us in physicality. And finally, you have Genesis, which a lot of people think it's a book of scientific, and it's not. There is one thing missing from the first four, and what is missing from the first four is exactly the concept of the Creator. I will try to say Creator here, but you can understand it as God. That's fine. I just like to give it the idea of Creator so we don't confuse with, say, with a Catholic God, because there are some differences, as we're going to see in one of the slides that follows later on. All right? So Genesis is where we are going to learn throughout an entire book that the concept of God is unique to each individual. We are here about 15 people. We think we all believe in the same God, but there are 15 complete different constructs, ideals, ideas of God in this room. Each one of us here has his or her own construct of what it is to be the Creator. And this is where we learn what we learn in Genesis. So we have these two, the Spirit's book and the Gospel, the first and the third, as a pair. Technical manual, user's manual. Then we have the Medium's book and Heaven and Hell, the second and the fourth, another pair of technical manual, user manual. And the last one stands on its own because it's one creation, one Creator, as we all know, as at least we all believe. So these are the 5 books that I was telling you about. These are the books that Allan Kardec or Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rivail put together and published under the nom de plume, the pseudonym of Allan Kardec. And these are the books we call the basics or the books of the codification, of the Spiritist codification.